Hi everybody, it's me, Nessa, about to do a second vocal warm-up. As you can see, it's some months later. The hair has grown and the light's still bad and the resolution on my screen seems to be getting worse, so hopefully this will work. We're going to try a second vocal warm-up today on how to express the emotions using our faces, obviously, and our voices. But before I start, I just want to refresh you on what we did last time. Can you remember? Well, the first thing is, of course, before you start any vocal warm-up, is to breathe. Now, last time I taught you a breathing technique called 7-11. That's breathing in to the count of 7 and breathing out to the count of 11. I actually taught you a 3-7 technique. I was being very nice, which means breathing into the count of 3 and out to the count of 7. So today we'll up it a little bit. As before, we'll breathe in and I'll use my fingers to count 4 and vocalize then on the out breath, counting up to 8. Shall we give it a go then? So here we go. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well done. Should we have another go? So breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. All right, that's all we'll do today. It was just to remind you of it. And then, as I said last time, forget about it. Right, the other thing we did last time was considering our faces in 2 ways. The first way is as a resonating board, a bit like a musical instrument. And in fact, there are 3 resonating areas. First one is the forehead. You can see it's nice and flat and the sound can just come off it and help us project our voices right to the back of the hall where we want them to be. Now, a good sound to get this all going, all working, is humming. So we have a little hum. You see, I can feel a hum up here, my forehead. It's all coming off here nicely. Good. Another area is across the cheeks where the sinuses are. And the sound we make for this one is knee, as in your knees and your legs. Knee. Now we do them quite rapidly in succession. Knee, 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 knee. Good. And then a final one is our chest area. It's nice and flat here, lots of sounding board there. And we often use an R sound for this one. So it's nice and deep in the throat and then it can come off the chest. That's a nice deep sound, as you can hear it resonating around. Now, the other thing we considered our faces as was a kind of stage, a stage on which our emotions can perform. I don't know whether you can remember the emotions, primary emotions. They were being happy, usually smiling like that, miserable or sad, being surprised, being fearful, which is everything sort of becomes very small and fearful. And then your favorite being angry. So you can see my face can go through lots of different emotions and lots of expressions. Though this is very, very important in theatre, because emotions are a universal language. No matter where you go in the world, if you're happy or sad or surprised, this will be communicated to everyone around you, regardless of what language they speak. So here we have a universal language, and theatre is very important for communicating something universally to everybody. Now, the sounds for happiness, obviously, comes out of the smiling, and that's laughing. So we can laugh on the different vowel sounds using our resonating board. So if I laugh, ha, 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 it's an R sound that's using this area to resonate. Ha, 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 ha. Let's have a good laugh. Oh, is another one. And of course, there is another sound, which is he. Now, he is another type of laugh, which is using this resonating area. So let's try the. So I can go, oh, and I would have used lots of different areas in my face and chest. Now, for the ha, ho, he, your breath is coming out. But if you're surprised, you'll notice something else different is happening. So, what's happening there? In fact, you're taking in a breath rather than breathing out. So surprise is very much about gasping, breathing in, and then everything opens up. Now today, we're going to have a look at being afraid or fearful. Now fear is sort of different from dread. Dread is considered a sort of mood with nothing particular, but fear, which I think you understand more than dread, is when it has an intentional object, what we call an intentional object, i.e. you are afraid of something. And we went through, if you remember before, what you were all afraid of, you know, spiders, rabbits, whatever. I'm trying to think what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid a bit, I have to say. I used to be terrified of flying. I'm better now, but still. That means that there's an object, something of which I'm afraid. So if you have trouble with your fearful faces, you just have to think of what you are afraid. Now, when we're afraid of something, you'll find that everything gets smaller. It starts to contract. You want to make yourself small so you can escape that of which you are afraid. It's a sort of biological response, really. You want to make yourself smaller, and your face becomes crunched up and sort of tries to avoid things. So obviously with sound, nothing is going out there. And in fact, sounds, fearful sounds, apart from a good old scream, but you'll find if you're really afraid of something, you find you cannot scream, or you scream without realizing you're screaming. But most sounds are rather pinched, rather small, because you're too terrified to really let yourself be known that you are this. Your little sounds. Of course, if it's a rather sudden thing that appears, of which you are afraid, in which case surprise becomes part of it, you can scream. I didn't really let that one out. I held it back, which is not a good idea. So on your own, obviously, away from the neighbors, if you want to have a good scream, give it a go. Okay, I think that's enough for today, actually. I won't go on to anger today, but I'll consider anger next time. And remember, just the work we did last time and the work we added today. So that's, remember to breathe, do your breathing exercises, our now 4-8 technique. And then remember our faces as resonating boards, humming, kneeing, ahhing. And then your face as stage in which the emotions of happiness or misery or surprise, or as we added today, fear can take place. Bye for now.